I'm going to do one on calling out for help. How often that's happened in my life, driven to that place. Years ago, we had a place up, we call it Red Mountain, and there were peacocks there when we moved in there. One of the brothers, who Garth, who I took down the road, he had a lot of birds, and he had the peacocks there, and we'd hear them making their sound that they do. And Amen commented one day how it sounded like them going, "Help! Help!" I believe Amen loves us to call out help. You look at the story of the brothers out in the Sea of Galilee with the Lord and the storm, and he's just looking like he's totally asleep. And the brothers are starting to lose it, and they go, "Lord, come on. Don't you see we're about to be consumed here?" And of course, the story is he calms the sea and calls Peter to walk out on the sea with him. It's all about faith, and he will stretch us out. He loves to do that. I think about all the times of my life. I had a recent one. It wasn't a real big deal. I mean, I feel like I'm there right now as I'm doing this recording, but I was working on the truck. It was about a year ago, and I had it started stuttering, and I felt really good. We have our shop, a nice, comfortable place to be, and I went there, and I had thought pretty much like I already knew what the problem would be. Well, it's going to be either spark or gas, and uh, and I figured it was the spark. The distributor was a little old, and I had rebuilt another distributor, and so I went ahead and put the distributor I rebuilt in there, and had the exact same thing happening. The truck was missing and getting worse, and the tack was flying all over the place. Well, in the meantime, I'm very relaxed, and I'm feeling good. I'm just enjoying. And so now it's not the distributor. I didn't really check for spark, but I was pretty sure it was spark, the way the distributor and the way it was missing. But I tried everything with the distributor, and things just kept getting weirder. Well, then I put in started working on the carburetor, and then it really got weird. I mean, I had backfiring, and this is going on like 4 days now, which I thought I was going to do in an afternoon. But all the 4 days, I'm feeling fine. Finally, the last day I work on it, I mean, I'm knowing the angels are messing with me. It got so weird that now it started to work on me, and I went home and I'm calling out for help now. And so the next day, oh, I had changed carburetors too. That didn't seem to help at all. The next day, I went there, I fiddled with a few things, and everything started working perfect. Now I know it's the angels. At different times, and I've talked about, I think it's a good thing to remember how fragile we are in the presence of God. Now, I know myself. I mean, I've been given incredible witness of His presence in my life, undeniable. And yet, I mean, the last couple days, how I have felt, and I don't really know why. To feel pressure in my heart, and in a way, a distance from the Father. I don't I don't really know what causes it. And He told us, He says, when you go through those things, don't try to figure it out. Because there's a lot of variables. You could be taking something on for somebody else. You have no idea, really. The bottom line is faith, but it drives you to a place where you're calling out for help, Father. And He loves that. He loves that. When When I was thinking about the family and amen, physically departing us and leaving us with the brothers and sisters who are here and how it would unfold. Of course, nobody's going to ever know the future. He makes sure of that. He might give you hints, but the idea is to come into an absolute trust without knowing, to know him that well. And he will keep driving us there. So as I'm picturing it, I've always pictured the brothers on the boat in the Sea of Galilee and the storm. I've always pictured that. Him taking us to that place. He loves that because that's where he really takes us through the wine press, where we really call out to him and we're really dependent on him. There is a nature in everybody to be self dependent that is an illusion. It's not real. And it's not that hard for us to drive us to the place of remembrance. Of course, a lot of people, he allows them that illusion. That's a punishment, to be taken to a place of total dependence on him is a great blessing because it's reality. I think a lot of times of King David, and, he had one of the most powerful armies in the world that he knew of in that time. And he was victorious in his warring, but he states regularly he did not trust the power of his chariots and his horses and his armaments. He trusted in the hand of the Lord, and really in a recognition of his own weakness in his presence, which was his true strength. And I counted upon mine that I am very much aware of my own weakness in his presence, but I count on his strength to uphold me and being driven to those places of, help me, Lord, even if it feels a little uncomfortable at the time. It's a great blessing because the people that he doesn't drive to that place are in for a rude awakening. The pride goes before destruction. There's a form of pride. It's self-pride, of course. I'm proud of the Father. I'm proud of brothers and sisters exemplifying his spirit. I really am too. When I see that in my brothers and sisters, it's a true pride. But then pride in your own strength, yeah, that's a setup. And we're built that way unless we really get down with it. And then you look at the world, oh my goodness, you know, to see how deceived people are in that place. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I can't help it, because I do watch the news, looking at the leadership and the way that and it's nothing new. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it's one side or the other is a whole lot better at any of this. But the dependence on their own strength and the glorification of things that are not of the Father. Oh my goodness. But the mass of humanity is in that state. They're deceived from within, not aware of how much dependent we are for everything. Our breath. Amen used to say, do this right here. Now, why was he saying that? He was saying, well, where'd you get that from? Just to be able to do that. And how aware of you are you of that? Yeah, being driven to the places where we have to call out for help. There's a family member, physical family. A brother has 3 sons, him and his wife. And I've watched the children grow up. It's on my cousin's side of the family. And the brother Well, something happened in the family between him and his wife, and what it caused was them to start really consciously, both of them, turning their life over to the Lord a lot more and raising the children that way, which is really beautiful, as I'm observing their life. And then shortly after that, the brother had an injury. One of those things that happen, that you don't expect. Somebody dropped a drill motor from a scaffold onto his head, and since then, he's been impaired mentally, extremely. They lost the business, that they had built up, really working very hard, both him and his wife. And, I think about him because it's a hard, hard place, to come into a place where all of a sudden, you've been able to do all these things and now you can't. And I'm aware, and I know that he's not in any fullness aware of the gifts that he's being given right now. But I do know him and his wife are definitely calling out for help. It drives you to that place. You don't see the gifts that are being given. Because I've walked through a portion of experiences that I've been driven to help a lot. Help me, Father. I've seen the fruit of it in my life. And so, looking upon this family, and I think about them, they're in my heart. I just visited them. Um, I can see some of the blessings that are being given, you know, being humbled in front of the Lord. People don't call out for that. Come on, because it's painful. It's like calling out to get your ass kicked. Uh, but if you love the Lord and you start calling out to get closer to Him, it's coming. It's part of the process. And it's going to drive you to a place of help me, Lord, because your self dependent nature has to die. And we're in an age right now that everybody's going to be faced with it. I mean, all this technology, which I look at it as an extension or a modern version of we are in control. We're going to control everything. It's all going to, I mean, it's already turning against everybody, but this is just the beginning. It's going to become, and it's so obvious to me, it's going to become hellacious what's coming. I mean, Amen said, but man has not seen what's coming. And the plans of those who are ruling, he said, would make Hitler look like a piker. If you can think like that. Yeah, yeah. I'm not into like following all these conspiracy things. I don't have to because I already got it down. Lucifer is in control of this physical world and the physical mind of this world. And people are deceived by it. And my word to everybody is call out for faith, man. Call out to get your ass kicked. Call out to be taken to a place of help me, Father. Because that's where you're going to find true strength, which is not of yourself, but of knowing that He has you. See, that's the only strength that's really going to be upheld